Okay, so recently a few new images have released for Jurassic World Rebirth, but not quite in the way that we were first anticipating. As we get closer to the month of April, we're expecting the second trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth to pretty much release right at the start of the month. And so us fans are expecting maybe one or two new images to release and maybe some more details about Rebirth as time goes on. However, very recently there has been a whole palooza of brand new Jurassic World Rebirth Legos that have been released. Now of course, as a disclaimer, we are aware here that Legos don't entirely tell the full story of what to expect for Jurassic movies. We've had that many times in the past, I can tell you that for a fact. So do take all of this with a pinch of salt, but there's enough reason to believe here that pretty much all of the sets that we do see is based off something official from Jurassic World Rebirth. So of course there are going to be some minor spoilers ahead, alongside some theories that might end up being true. So keep that in mind just in case you don't want to be spoiled. If you're looking for one place here on YouTube with all of your Jurassic news covered, such as Evolution 3, Jurassic Park Survival, Jurassic World Rebirth, and Jurassic World Chaos Theory, then look no further. Why not subscribe so that you can help us reach 300,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But for now, let's get into the brand new LEGO sets for Jurassic World Rebirth. So yeah, brand new LEGO sets have finally arrived, and as you can see, we're pretty much just going to discuss them today because some of them actually have some really good and interesting details. Now the first one I want to talk about is regarding a brand new species called the Aquilops. We've never seen the Aquilops in the franchise before, so this is going to be the very first one, but we have a name for it. It's called W.Rex, which I think we already knew about previously through another toy set, but this one actually confirms that it is a baby dinosaur. So this Aquilops probably isn't going to be fully grown in the movie, so it's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to play a part. But in the top right we can actually see a Spinosaurus render from the movie as well, and I think this is one of our very first brand new looks at the Spinosaurus, and this Spinosaurus seems to be on every piece of box art that we're going to be discussing today. But just to discuss this Aquilops a little bit more, we actually get to see its full body render right here, and yeah, he definitely looks like a war criminal, that's for sure. This Aquilops, man, he's done something really bad to belong on this island. Apparently these dinosaurs were way too dangerous for the original park, so Aquilops must have done something very bad. Either way, we get to see the Aquilops model. It's actually a better looking model than what I anticipated from the previous toy that we got from Mattel, but this one, it makes it look more like a Microceratus, which we finally got to see in Jurassic World Dominion, and now unfortunately it doesn't seem like it's going to be returning, so it's just making me think, why are they adding Aquilops and not reusing the Microceratus? After all, Microceratus was indeed the very first species to be cloned in the timeline. That's until Jurassic World Rebirth comes around and is probably going to retcon all of that. Either way, the design looks very good, and on the front cover of this box we actually get names for these characters. We have Isabella Delgado and Ruben Delgado, so we know that this is now called the Delgado family, and we are aware that they kind of they crash onto this island, and I think they're actually going on some kind of illegal tour, and that's what happens. Apparently they get washed to sea through the boats, so I can only presume that this family right here has been on the island a lot longer than Zora Bennett and the rest of the crew, and we'll get into that just a little bit later on. But also in the box art we get to see the Velociraptor pouncing out of a bush, and I can only presume that might be taken from a scene in the movie where it involves a jump scare of some kind. But this Velociraptor is not just popping up there, it's popping up in this one here of the Titanosaurus as well, and they all sport the same, well, colour scheme, something that we have seen in its live action form via some balloons that released I think a couple of weeks ago, and they aren't showing the two-headed Velociraptor that we've seen in the trailer, so they're kind of playing coy with that one. But this LEGO set right here actually brings a lot more intrigue to me than what most people have actually seen, and that's because I take a look and I notice so many possible details about all of this. So of course the Titanosaurus is really cool, doesn't look like the model nor the skin pattern that we see in the trailer, so it could be suggesting that we're getting 3 types of Titanosaurs. But within this LEGO set as well we can see the Velociraptor is around some kind of petrol station by the looks of it. Now this scene is very reminiscent to The Lost World, where the Velociraptors come face to face with Ian Malcolm during a nighttime sequence on Isla Sorna. He's in the petrol station trying to avoid the Velociraptors. So if this were to happen in Jurassic World Rebirth, it's of course a nice little callback to the original Lost World movie. But some of you must be thinking, a petrol station on this abandoned island? It makes no sense. True, it makes no sense. But what does make sense with Jurassic World Rebirth these days? There's loads of questions for this movie. However, there is one photo from behind the scenes where we actually get to see a petrol station. So I can only presume that this scene is taken directly from what we saw on that set. And to be honest, I'm just going to throw it out here. Maybe they lured the D.Rex to the petrol station, blew up the petrol station, that's how they killed the D.Rex. That's just a random idea that's floated into my head, but I won't be surprised if they do that. Either way, it's cool to see velociraptors amongst petrol stations once more. But again, in the top right, there is a drone right there. That drone actually has what seems to be some kind of DNA. Yeah, it seems to have some kind of DNA canister on the end of it. So, of course, trying to get DNA from a very large sauropod like Titanosaurus must be near impossible to do so, and you have to be a perfect shot, you need to be within range, and of course, since this movie does take place in 2028, it's ever so likely that they are just pretty much just going to use a drone to fire it into the neck of the Titanosaur and get its DNA that way. I think that's a lot easier of a mechanism or method, shall we say. Now, the vehicles, I wouldn't look too much into them. I don't think these vehicles are going to be appearing in the movie, but we do see Martin Krebs, Zora Bennett, and Dr. Loomis pretty much all together at the very same time. But noticeably, there is no Duncan in this scene. Now, as I said at the start of the video, LEGO doesn't fully depict what exactly happens in the movie, so what I think might have happened here is that LEGO decided that, okay, hold on, 2 dinosaurs and 3 figures, that's more than enough, let's just remove some characters from this scene. I think that's just what's gone on here, so I wouldn't really look too deeply into the Duncan theories. But if we do scroll forward a few images and we actually see a child playing with this toy, one of the extra bits that we didn't see on the box art is a tent right here. So they might actually be stocking up overnight, staying near this petrol station in a tent, and it just opens a whole load of new possibilities. Maybe the family was on this island a lot longer than Zora, Henry, and Martin Krebs and Duncan as well. Or it could just be that they are residing overnight in this petrol station and then they come face to face with the Velociraptor, which would actually set up a very similar scene to what we got in the Lost World Jurassic Park. But up next, we actually have the river raft scene, and I'll be honest, I never thought I'd ever see this scene in a LEGO set, so it's really nice to see, that's for sure. However, in this scene, of course, we get to see the Tyrannosaurus break through some kind of, I don't know what that is, some building of some kind, and we actually get to see 2 of the characters going down the river trying to escape this Tyrannosaurus. Now in the trailer, we do see the person who comes face to face with the Tyrannosaurus is Luna Blaze's character, which we didn't actually have an official name for until now, where we see that she is called Teresa Delgado. However, the other person in this box art is called Xavier Dobbs. Now, the rest of the box art and the rest of the leaks do not confirm the name Dobbs anywhere, so this is clearly somebody who is not part of the Delgado family, and since we can see that Teresa is pretty much around 20 years old, maybe 19 years old, this means that this person, Xavier, could be Teresa's boyfriend of the movie. Now, that opens up a whole load of possibilities, I'll be deadly honest, like he could save her and then die in the movie. He's clearly that character that wants to be part of this Delgado family and probably try to prove to Teresa's father that he's worthy enough for his daughter, that kind of thing, and then ends up sacrificing himself. I feel like that's a really good play on with the story there, so I really hope they go down that type of route with Xavier. But then again, I could be looking into this a bit too deeply and Xavier could literally be just anyone. But then the very next set, I think the most expensive set because, and as I said earlier, 4 characters now and 2 dinosaurs. One of them is the Spinosaurus, and it's our very first look at a brand new Spinosaurus model. It does not look like it should look like in the movie. It pretty much just looks like the Jurassic Park 3 variant, which we all know and love. But in this set, I think it's the most expensive one, and you can clearly see why. It's a whole temple setup. You have 4 characters, 2 dinosaurs, one of them is a Quetzalcoatlus, one of them is a Spinosaurus. But in this, we can quite clearly see that there are some booby traps in the temple. Something I wasn't anticipating. Now, we do know that at some point in its history, Rebirth Island had some humans living on it. Obviously, Mayan humans, Aztec humans, you know, very ancient. So setting up a booby trap system that still works in 2028 might be a little bit far-fetched. But I'll be honest, I'll turn a blind eye to that, and I think it will be really cool, especially if they go down the route of, you know, trying to discover what's inside this temple, kind of like Indiana Jones actually. That would be really, really cool in my opinion. But in this box art, if we go to the back of it where we get a few more images, we can see the Quetzalcoatlus is absolutely large, and I don't think it actually resembles the Quetzalcoatlus from Jurassic World Rebirth, but more the design of Jurassic World Dominions. Also, on the back of this box, we can see there are some 3 other images on the right hand side, and one of them actually depicts Martin Krebs getting stuck on that booby trap. So that might be portraying a scene from the movie where he accidentally triggers the booby trap and then has to escape with his life somehow. And for our final LEGO set today, I do want to talk about the one right here with the Mosasaurus. And it's actually a brick-built Mosasaurus, so I believe you have to build the Mosasaurus itself, and it's quite large. But in this scene, it kind of depicts two characters that we absolutely knew nothing about, but did in fact appear in the trailer. We have Atwater, which is quite a coincidence, considering that he's at water. Maybe he even dies at water. But I believe this to be Ed Skrine's character, which we only saw for quite literally half a second in the trailer. Either way, we anticipate him to be a bad guy as well, and probably die off in the movie. But we also have Leclerc as well. And I believe this to be Bashir Sylvain's character, judging by the attire that he's wearing and the bum bag that he has going across his body as well. They just look very much alike, so I can only presume it to be these two characters, or actors shall I say. But in this scene it says boat's mission, and I can only presume they're trying to get the DNA of this Mosasaurus. However, things might go awry because it seems likely, once we skip to a different image, that the boat actually gets caught on some kind of reef, some kind of coral, and basically causes these people to, well, escape from the boat and try to get the DNA another way. And even in one of the scenes that we get to see from one of the shorter clips, we do see somebody in the water with a flare. Now initially we thought this to be Duncan Kincaid because he's already held a flare before, but I have reason to believe now looking at this, it might be Bashir Sylvain's character holding it instead. Now, Atwater, we don't really see him anywhere else, and since Ed Skrein is often known to play bad guys, I would presume that this might be the scene where he dies off. He might be eaten by the Mosasaurus, who knows, but either way, still a pretty cool scene, and I just realised there's a nice little goldfish there as well. Now, interestingly enough, there was nothing mentioned about the D.Rex LEGO set. I know some people are saying that there's a big jump between, I think it's 76970, and then it jumps to 76972. That's, you know, that's very common in LEGO. I know some people will compare it to previous LEGO sets in the past that haven't been revealed until after the movie, but it's happened very often. I've spoken to some LEGO insiders, and it's not really something that we should delve too deep into, because even if there were to be a D.Rex LEGO set, it might be 76978 or whatever. There's no guarantee it will be in between, but it's safe to say that a D.Rex LEGO set will probably be coming sometime soon. But that's pretty much it for all of the LEGO sets that we have gotten so far. I did wait a few days because apparently these guys weren't supposed to be released as early as they did, so unfortunately we didn't really get to delve deep into this as soon as I would have liked to have done. But of course I respect LEGO, and whenever things are right to be addressed, then we'll try our best to do it on official terms. However, it's depicted a lot of scenes from the movie, and I think it is safe to say we have kind of got a really good gist of what's going on in Jurassic World Rebirth, and honestly, it's making me a little bit more excited for Jurassic World Rebirth, because initially I had my doubts, but the more I go on, the more I start to theorize and explain some things, I think it's starting to come together really, really nicely. But what do you guys think? Head on down to the comments and let me know what you think of these LEGO sets and what scene you're excited to see the most in Jurassic World Rebirth. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Come on, we've got loads of Jurassic stuff coming this year, so why not subscribe? But most importantly, of course, make sure you're all staying safe out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hey, did you enjoy the video? Well, why not leave a like and subscribe for more Jurassic content? I appreciate every single one of you for reaching this point into the video and supporting me this far. If you wish to support me even further, then feel free to head on down to the description where you can find links to donate, my Patreon, and you can also press that join button to become a member here on YouTube and gain access to some awesome emojis. A massive thank you to all of the YouTube members for this month, as well as the amazing fans over on Patreon too. Your extra bit of support really goes a long way. But for now, I wish you a great rest of your day.